Have you ever felt like you're interested in too many things? Like you can't just pick one path and stick to it? Well, you're in good company. Today, we're diving into the life of a man who is the ultimate jack of all trades. A master of many and perhaps the most curious person who ever lived, Leonardo da Vinci. Leonardo's story doesn't start in a grand palace or a prestigious academy. He was born in 1452 in a small Italian village, outside of marriage. In that era, this meant his options were limited. A formal classical education was off the table, and his social standing was permanently capped. But maybe, just maybe, this was a blessing in disguise. Instead of being forced into a rigid curriculum, young Leonardo was left to his own devices. He wasn't a disciplined student who memorized texts. He was a curious kid who wandered the hills of Tuscany, fascinated by everything he saw. He'd watch birds in flight, study the flow of water in a stream, and sketch the intricate patterns of leaves. His classroom was the natural world, and his teacher was his own insatiable curiosity. When he was about 14, his father recognized his artistic talent and sent him to Florence to become an apprentice in the workshop of a leading artist, Andrea del Verrocchio. This was Leonardo's big break. Florence was the beating heart of the Renaissance, a city buzzing with creativity and innovation. In Verrocchio's studio, Leonardo wasn't just taught to paint. He learned drawing, sculpture, metalworking, and the basics of mechanics and engineering. It was a hands-on, multidisciplinary education perfect for a mind like his. It didn't take long for his extraordinary talent to shine through. What set him apart wasn't just his skill with a brush, but his obsessive power of observation. He didn't just paint a tree. He studied how light filtered through its leaves. He didn't just draw a person. He analyzed how their muscles tensed when they moved. He became a master of light and shadow, what artists call chiaroscuro, and pioneered a technique called sfumato, creating soft, hazy transitions between colors, making his paintings feel alive. He saw the world with a scientific eye, and this deep observation became the bedrock of his art. But here's the twist in Leonardo's story, the part that makes him so relatable. He was a chronic procrastinator. His mind was a whirlwind of ideas, and he was constantly distracted. One moment he'd be working on a prestigious commission for a church, and the next, he'd be completely absorbed in designing a new type of water pump or trying to figure out the anatomy of a woodpecker's tongue. His patrons, some of the most powerful people in Italy, would grow incredibly frustrated. They'd pay him large sums for paintings that he would start work on for years, and then just leave unfinished. The famous Adoration of the Magi, for example, remains a stunning but incomplete masterpiece. He just couldn't help himself. As soon as he felt he'd solved the main artistic puzzle of a piece, his curiosity would pull him toward the next great mystery, and those mysteries were everywhere. Leonardo's famous notebooks are a testament to his restless mind. These weren't just artists' sketchbooks. They were encyclopedias of an entire universe of thought. He filled thousands of pages with notes and drawings on everything imaginable. He was fascinated by human anatomy. At a time when it was deeply taboo, he obtained and dissected human corpses to understand how the body truly worked. His drawings of muscles, bones, and the vascular system were centuries ahead of their time, more accurate than anything that had come before. They weren't just for art. They were pure scientific inquiry. Then there were his inventions. He dreamed of flight, filling pages with detailed designs for flying machines inspired by the wings of bats and birds. He sketched out an armored car, a precursor to the modern tank. He designed a giant crossbow, a diving suit, and even a robotic knight. Most of these incredible ideas were never built. The technology of the 15th century simply couldn't keep up with his 21st century imagination. But the notebooks show us a mind that was constantly asking, what if? And how does that work? This constant jumping between subjects might seem like a lack of focus, and in a way it was, but for Leonardo, it was all connected. He believed that to be a great artist, you had to be a great scientist. How could you paint a river without understanding the principles of fluid dynamics? How could you sculpt a horse without knowing its anatomy? For him, art wasn't just about creating something beautiful. It was a tool for investigation, a way to explore and understand the very fabric of reality. Painting was the final expression of his scientific quest. It was where his studies of light, anatomy, geology, and botany all came together on one canvas. Think about the Mona Lisa. Why has this one portrait captivated the world for 500 years? It's not just her enigmatic smile. It's the product of decades of Leonardo's obsessive study. The subtle, lifelike expression is a result of his deep understanding of human anatomy and the way muscles create emotion. The soft, smoky sfumato technique, which he perfected, makes her feel like she's breathing. And the dreamlike, almost alien landscape behind her is a product of his geological studies and his fascination with how light and atmosphere affect what we see. It's a synthesis of art, science, and psychology. The same is true for The Last Supper. It's not just a depiction of a famous biblical scene. It's a masterclass in human drama and psychology. Leonardo chose the most dramatic moment, when Jesus announces that one of his apostles will betray him. Each of the 12 disciples reacts in a way that perfectly reflects their personality. It's a powerful, chaotic, and deeply human scene, all captured through Leonardo's genius for composition and his profound understanding of people. In the end, Leonardo da Vinci completed only about 15 paintings. By the standards of his prolific contemporaries, he was a failure, an unreliable artist who couldn't finish a job. But history tells a different story. Those few finished works, along with his mountain of notebooks, fundamentally changed the course of Western art and thought. He taught us that art could be more than just decoration. It could be a form of knowledge. Leonardo's legacy isn't just about the Mona Lisa or his designs for flying machines. It's a powerful lesson about the nature of creativity itself. He showed us that you don't have to choose between being an artist or a scientist, a dreamer or an engineer. You can be all of them. He proved that true innovation doesn't come from rigid discipline or specializing in one single thing. It comes from curiosity. It comes from daring to ask questions, following your passions wherever they lead, and seeing the connections between everything. Leonardo da Vinci didn't try to master one subject. He tried to understand everything. And in that relentless, beautiful pursuit, he became a true master of what it means to be human. So the next time you feel scattered or pulled in a dozen different directions, remember Leonardo. Maybe you're not unfocused. Maybe you're just curious. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into the mind of a genius, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more stories about the people who shaped our world. See you next time.